I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we get started with the actual meeting, I think we need to swear our newest board member in.
He doesn't swear to him.
That could be a problem. That could be a problem. So, Greg, if I could get you to stand and read after me. I, Greg Erpenbach,
I, Greg Erpenbach,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. That I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Montana.
and the Constitution of the State of Montana.
And that I will discharge the duties of my office
And that I will discharge the duties of my office
as Director of County Water District of Billings Heights.
as the Director of the County
Water District.
Water District of Billings Heights
With fidelity.
with fidelity.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You are now sworn at. Welcome to the board. And, let's see, we need one of these signed from him. Might need you to sign that, and then I'll put it in the piece, and this will be your copy. And again, welcome to the board. If you have any questions on anything, feel free to speak up at any time. Okay, we'll do the roll call.
Doug?
Here.
Frank?
Here.
Sam? Here. Jeff?
Here.
Tom?
Here.
Greg?
Here.
Ming?
Here. Okay, all members are present. During the course of the meeting, the public may be heard before a vote is cast by the board. The President will acknowledge the public once the motion has been made and discussed by the board for their input. The President will also recognize speakers who raise their hand. Once recognized, the speaker should move to the side of the table of the board so comments can be heard. Please identify yourself by name and limit your comments to 2 minutes. Each speaker will have one opportunity to speak on any agenda item. Once the public comment period is over, the public may not provide further comment or ask additional questions during the remainder of the agenda action, unless specifically requested by the chair or presiding officer of the meeting. Public comment on we'll wipe that all off. Public comment on non-public hearings, agenda items. Any member of the public may be heard on any subject that is not on the agenda, and the board will not take any action on these at this time, but may choose to add that item to the next agenda. So I will ask, is there any comment on any items that are not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. Minutes from May 1st, pages 1 through 5, and May 14th, pages 6 through 21. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I
as
move
written?
to approve the minutes as presented.
Tom has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Frank has second. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, we'll just call a consensus vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we'll now move to the consent agenda. Are there any changes or any, Tom?
I wish to separate the Randall Hurley bill. I believe it's page 44 of the agenda packet.
That'd be item number 6 on the agenda.
Item number
Yes.
6. Okay,
Just the Randall Hurley bill, not the whole item. All of them are
Director
separate.
Esmond.
I would request to separate the census bill on page 45.
Pam?
I would like to move to separate the three interstate bills for discussion.
3,
Or the two. Is there two?
it's your motion.
I've got them down. I want to separate the interstate bills for discussion.
Okay, which,
53951 and 53950.
what page?
40 and 37.
I cut and pasted, so I just got the notes on it. But I don't have the page number.
Was that,
That 53590 is page 40. 53591.
37.
so basically, we still wanna
Page 37.
segregate consent item number 6.
Yeah.
That's entire.
Right,
what I would
and
say.
Andrew Ring too. So, yeah, so all of it.
This way.
Okay, is there, anybody wanna second that
No, you don't have to
Yeah,
second
yeah.
I have to-
separation.
on a separation? Okay,
Who's putting all of number 6?
yeah, all of number 6.
Mr. Chairman, just from a Robert's Rule standpoint, consent agenda means everybody agrees. So that means that one person objecting can cause it to be separated off of the consent agenda.
So, do I have a motion to accept consent agenda items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? Tom?
I move we accept consent agenda items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Second.
Second.
Second by Director Esmond. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I want a discussion a little bit. Number 5,
Okay?
I just wanna, okay, so we've been known as Heights Water and Sewer? That's what we've been known as?
No,
Yes.
the last bit that was when we filed our minutes with the county, they were written up as Heights Water and Sewer rather than just Heights Water.
For how long?
As far as I know, just that
I
month.
think only in April. It was not written up as Heights Water and Sewer, it's written up as County Water and Sewer
County
District,
Water.
of which there is none. And then it wasn't dated, and then the special meeting was listed as an emergent meeting. But unfortunately, you can't just change it the once it's submitted, because I asked John if we could do it, and John referred it to the Assistant County Attorney, who said it has to go on a board meeting for permission. So the ones it's submitted incorrectly, we have to correct it at a board meeting.
So why, if it was just April, why didn't we say for April 2024?
Oh, I didn't put it in this way, but this is how it's put in.
I was under the assumption that we've been under that forever, and
No.
so it's just the April month is the only time.
I believe it's the only time, and whether it was April and May,
No, it was the 2 meetings in April.
Two meetings in
It was
April.
Susan Swimley's meeting and.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
okay. Back to the vote, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda 1 through 5 passes. Now we'll move down to item number 6. And who wants to lead off with that, Tom?
I asked to separate Randall Hurley because we voted last month not to pay the bill. I make a motion that we still refuse to pay the bill.
Second.
Second, moved in second, not to pay. Frank?
I'd like to say that we start at 35 and work our way through it, because there's 35 through 46, and take them in order so we're not bouncing around and miss something.
Is there any opposition to that?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, let's start with
We start with Susan Swimmer's bill.
Yeah.
Are you withdrawing that?
Pardon?
Withdrawing the motion?
Yeah, we're gonna start with, and work our way through it. Frank?
Is that, Mr. Chairman, is that our last and forever bill with Susan Swimley for the near future?
As far as I'm aware of, that is the last.
Okay, so we're agreeing to pay that bill, right?
You moved
We would be moving.
I don't know, one of the board members has always refused to pay Susan Swimley, so I was just wondering if we were gonna still refuse to pay hers or not.
I'll make a motion to pay this final bill from Susan Swimley.
Second.
It's been moved and second to pay Swimley final bill.
I wouldn't say final. She sends monthly, but everything appears to be wrapped up. So it should be final, but she could send something else if the prescription is ace.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
what.
the legal action's all closed now, isn't it?
It is. It states that it's been received fully executed settlement agreement. I think it's done.
It appears to be
It
done.
appears to be done. Yes, I agree.
It's been filed with the court, and Holland and Hart has their check.
So, what, yeah, I guess we have a motion on the floor, and it's just a question now, how we wanna word that. We just wanna word it as
Just pay it.
this payment, this month's payment.
Well, if she sends us another bill, I'm gonna separate.
Right. We separate it out. So, is it, Tom?
This bill is dated May 7th, and her last entry is, I believe, the 19th. That's a long ways from the end of the month. So it appears everything's done. I hate to say it's the last bill we could get from her. God knows how she bills, I don't. So it'll probably get separated if she sends this
Yeah.
another. So let's just pay the bill and move on.
So, all in favor of paying the Swimley bill for this month, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We'll move to the next page. Excuse me if I'm disconnected here, but I gotta get back to
Where's
the
this?
Be
package.
page
I didn't think.
37.
37, yep.
Frank?
All right, I don't have any complaints on 37, I guess, except that I don't agree with the final. My next complaint is on page 38. If you look at that, it says, Lowell Cutshaw, drive from Belfry to Billings and back. 2 hours, $235 an hour. We got billed for $470. The other thing on this month's bills that they sent out is the meeting that we had on the 2nd. Eric Lear had 3 hours at that meeting. Lowell, Cutshaw, and Bradley Bone had 2.5 hours, which amounts to $87.50 overcharge. And then when you go to the next page, the next bill, the April 13th one, we have
Let's-
Lowell Cutshaw from Belfry to Billings for $460. That was $230 an hour, 2 hours of windshield time. I didn't know we paid engineers windshield time because they decided to move out of the city of Billings. I think it should be from the office to here, not from Belfry. And I'll vote against it. If anybody else, if you guys wanna vote for it and paying that extra, it amounts to, the difference on those 3 things I just brought up amounts to $1,017.50.
Chris,
I'll make a motion to pay both those bills in the entire but withhold $1,000. What?
$1,017.50.
I have one other concern with the bill.
Go ahead, Director.
I had the same concerns that Frank did, and I had those down. But we also paid somebody $950 to do a drone flight over Wix, for the engineering plan for Wix. I mean, I've never heard of a stupider thing. I mean, the main line's underground, why are we doing a drone flight for $950? I just think the bills from Interstate are completely out of control. And they just do whatever they want.
May I suggest something, Mr. Chairman? Number one, my experience working with engineering firms, there's a travel time and they charge a different fee. So I think we need to get real specific, and I would request that they state what their charges are for travel time. Number two, if we have an option to deal with another engineer, then have somebody that comes out of town, we should have that option up front, not after the fact. It becomes a billable of them. So number one, what your charges for travel time. And as far as drone, that's the latest thing. Have we requested drone flights? No. So we should scratch that on bill. So I'll make 2 notes and I'll meet with Josh, and I will meet with him and say, hey, we didn't request any of this. You gotta give us an option, or we just pay the bill. It's your call, and I think that's reasonable.
Frank?
Thank you, Chair. One other thing, Bo, is
Yeah.
the bill for April
The
13th.
vote date, the 13th.
What was the other bill? Was it March or was? Anyway, the one trip, he charged $230.
Yeah.
And then the next, at a later date, he charged $235 an hour. And on the bill that we got, that I asked Susie to hold back, that she sent out today, he's back to $230 an hour. So he got a $5 an hour raise, and then they deducted him $5, or did they just put any amount in they feel like? I'm not sure.
Okay. So we'll give them an opportunity to re-invoice us with the correct amount based on the feeling of the board, which means travel time cannot be full-time. We're not getting any benefit. Nobody's getting, that doesn't make any sense. And most engineering firm travel, there's a separate fee for travel time. And anything that we have not requested, please do not do items that we have not requested for. And especially drone flights. I totally agree with you, Frank.
I was shocked.
Mr. Chairman, question for the general manager. I'll take my place in line. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director Bach.
My thought on having dealt with engineers before, the drone thing was to cover their own ass, basically. It's liability protection on their point to show that they've done work or been done. I think it's documentation for themselves, not so much for our purposes but for theirs.
Director Esmond.
Question for our general manager. Sir, would you prefer that we not pay the entire bill before you talk to them, or pay everything except the 1,017 plus the 950?
I think it would be appropriate not to pay component parts of the bill. That's not good practice. You have more of the pull with them if you do not pay the bill at all. Because they will forego perhaps that and just go on with it. We want them to rebill us based on the services that we have requested, not that they have requested. We didn't ask Lyle to jump in that car at $235, come and see Summit. We never asked it. Josh and I never asked that to happen.
Well,
So-
he was asked to attend that meeting.
Right, we should give them an opportunity to rethink what's going on here. For us to take our own action, our own law in our own hand to do our own thing, that's not a good practice, I don't think. So picking apart, very few people will deal with us if we start doing that. So not paying the bill at all, we'll get their attention. We'll get their attention, trust me.
I'll make a substitute motion.
We don't
Director
have a
Esmond?
motion on the second bill, do we?
Well, no, it never got seconded. So
Right.
I'll make a new motion.
Yeah.
Not to pay invoice 53590 or 53590 One, so that our general manager can get them straightened out on their
And
billing
then
practices.
54598, the one that just came out
No,
today.
that we're,
That's not on our
That-
agenda
that's
that's
not
not
on
today.
the agenda, we can't discuss it, we can't vote on it.
I'll second it.
Comments? Tom?
We had a work session just over this and had them here. All of this information was presented to us at that work session. Now we're arguing again. Their bill is already over 60 days old, and it says a 1.5% per month will be applied to all invoices over 60 days. We're in that period right now, and you're gonna double, triple it. You didn't ask the questions when they were here to discuss the bills, and now you wanna not pay them? I just can't operate that way. If I was a businessman, I'd tell you to go to Hades. I mean, seriously.
Three votes?
Thank you, Chair. When did you get the itemized deal from them? You got it that meeting when we walked in the door, they handed it to us. We had a lot of stuff going on. Did you have time to go over it?
Yes, I did. I sat there and read over it.
And you didn't notice that we were paying him windshield time from Belfry?
Yes, I did.
Any other comments? Rick Ressman?
Well, I think the 1.5% per month is gonna be less than, you know, we're talking about 1.5% of $23,000. I think the general manager can negotiate a more significant deduction and future proper billing practices. So
Yes.
I don't think it's about the 1.5%.
Director Cabrera?
Yeah, I think I'm with Director Esmond on this as well. I think that we can negotiate that 1.5%, say, listen, we're not quite sure about what this Belfry thing is. And I think that by paying most everything except that bill, it is gonna get their attention. So I'd like to approve what Director Esmond and Director Pim, first and second, on their comments. And try to get it down to where we're there. I don't understand why we have to pay the Belfry as well.
But the motion was to not pay
Not
the-
Pay them at all.
not pay them at all.
Right.
That's fine, now let's not do it.
I calculated the interest it's gonna, if they have the guts to charge it after he talks to them, and I doubt they will, it's about less than $2.
No, it's not. It's 1.5% per month
I know.
of 24,000.
I
That's
just did the math.
360.
Mr. Chairman, he did tell us that he's willing to forego the charges. I don't think that's a big issue compared with the way they're doing things to us. And I'm gonna ask him, with your permission, to review the current bills as well, so we don't have to sit at a board meeting nitpicking their invoices. You know, either you work with us or you don't. If we have to go through every line item at the board, we're dealing with the wrong engineering firm. So I gotta ask them to shape up and do normal practice and only conduct work that are authorized through a motion. And I think they've been helping themselves here the last year or two, perhaps.
Thank you both, appreciate it.
Public comments? Seeing no public comment, let us take a vote. All in favor of not paying invoice 53590 and 53951 to Interstate Engineering, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion is passed unanimously.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't vote, Tom?
Nope.
All opposed, please say aye.
Aye.
Show Tom as, Director Zaruin as opposed. Okay, we will now move to page 40, Randall Hurley,
44.
44, page 44. Tom,
I move we don't pay the bill.
is there a second to that?
I will second.
Seconded by Director Esmond. Tom, go ahead.
We asked Randall Hurley for some amendments to this situation. they guaranteed us at a meeting that things were under control and that these payments would be adjusted and not paid out. Then all of a sudden, we get a proposal for changing the contract so that they can violate what's written in it. And not a word about the changes we asked for. If they want to sue for the $250, I think we have a legal proper countersuit for breach of contract. I say don't pay it. That's my feeling.
I attended that meeting and there was something about reserves, that it would be paid out of the reserves. And I can't quite remember how much was in the reserves, but.
It was like 600 at the time when Haley Green was here.
Right, so why wouldn't the 250 come out of that?
Beats me.
Well, I think part of the issue was that Peyton wasn't entitled to the $1,200 that he then withdrew. And we asked management to alert the attorney and to alert Randall Hurley that that money was not legally his and should be returned. And we thought it would go into reserves, and then in the interim, he pulled the money out. So, so he took the money out when he was responsible for administering the contract. Diane Crease took the money out when she was the bookkeeper, that she was not entitled to. So we've had a long-term practice, but we never knew what was going on. But we do now, so.
Well, the board has never seen anything go out. And as fiduciary, we're supposed to be the fiduciary part of this group. Director Esmond.
My concern is that the contract with these entities was illegally signed. Illegally signed. There was a signature line for the trustees. That's this board, and this board only under Montana law and federal law. And it was signed by the previous manager. Now, I think the law was broken and it needs to stop. You know, we cannot, if you don't like the law, change the law, but that doesn't mean if you don't like the law, you get to ignore it. There is way too much of that going on in this country right now, and it's gonna harm us all. So it's time to take a stand. You know, these companies had a duty to make sure the contract was properly signed, and they failed that duty too. So, you know, I would like, at our June meeting, you know, we're gonna pass a resolution here about our policy on referring matters to our lawyer. I think we need to have a discussion item, either at the end of the meeting tonight, if it's not too late, or at our next work session about researching our options to sue these companies for failure to perform the contract, and perhaps referral for investigation of the illegal signing.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Director.
Yes, Chair. Please fill me in on this Randall Hurley bill. I'm not quite sure what it is, please.
They're charging us $250 to basically rewrite
To amend the contract.
and amend the contract so that they didn't fall into compliance. So that
Which contract are we talking about?
contract with Randall Hurley,
Retirement.
retirement.
The profit sharing plan.
Oh, the
employer.
retirement contract
Yes.
with Randall, but we don't even use them.
And we do. We pay two companies.
Okay, this is, okay.
Randall Hurley and Ascensus. Ascensus is the,
Oh, a census. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know which one it is.
yeah,
I know it.
Ascensus holds the money, and Randall Hurley is supposed to make sure that all the, everything is legal with the federal government on the plan. So when it looks and it appears like when it's not legal, they ask their other companies to pay so they can redo their policy to make it legal.
Mr. Chairman, they want to sweep this under the rug. That's what this amendment was about. No way I'm ever gonna vote yes to pay that.
Any other comments on this one? So the
Can we
motion,
get a second on that?
I second it.
yeah. And that was not to pay Randall Hurley's bill. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
I just have a quick comment. Bo, will you be able to talk to Randall Hurley on this thing again? Make sure that we're doing this properly? Is that something that
Well-
can be done on that end?
I did a research this back in May 6th, and I sent a report about the custodian, the plan administrator, and also the investment manager. And as far as Hurley, they bought out the company that we originally dealt with back in Haley Greedy, Judge
Agreed.
Greedy. So there was 3 agreements: a trust agreement, loan procedures, and fund policy statements that were all signed July 25, 2022 by our management team. And supposedly there was a resolution on February 26, 2022, kind of authorizing these guys to do it. Is that right?
No. The only thing that I've seen on a resolution is a resolution authorizing Duke to sign phase 2 of the Oxbow, but that's illegal. The board has no authority to override state law, so it matters not at all. But I
have a
I'm
question,
trying to be
Pam.
very
What did that
specific
have
here.
to do with
There's no,
this?
I haven't seen, that's the only resolution I've seen giving,
Okay.
giving the manager the authority to sign a contract,
Okay.
and that was illegal.
But my point, I think my point, Mr. Chairman, is that these people signed it, and I think part of the blame here belongs to us as well. I'm not trying to point out, I don't think anybody in this room had anything to do with it, but we allowed, our system allowed this to happen. Why? I don't know. But, I really don't know. But going forward is always easier and nicer to go forward. And it's pretty clear that the board should be involved in signing these documents. So I pulled most of these resolutions, and I talked to each one of these companies myself on what's going on. And looking forward, I outlined an RFQ that I was sent to you, Jeff, on what we expect out of a 401k retirement manager. And my proposal is to combining at least 2 of these 3 functions. That's what's done today. 401k retirement plan is a boilerplate. Back when this was done, everybody tried to get into it, and someone did it right and some did not. But having 3 different parties involved is not advisable, it's more expensive, complicated, and the burden on us to sort it all out becomes more complicated. So I could see what happened here. So I think it's important for the board to move forward. How can we prevent this from happening in the future? I will, for your next meeting, I will have that RFQ for you, and I will have 3
Let's take it up at the
qualified
work.
candidates. You know.
We can take it up at the work session in detail, when we have questions and time. We got a long
We
agenda.
have a long agenda. So, back to motion that's on the floor.
Just voted on it,
That passed. Okay, come one step
We're up
behind.
to the next bill, isn't that the census bill?
That's the census bill. 901 1/4. Record keeping. Pam?
Well, I did ask to see a copy of how they justify those kind of expenses, and I haven't seen that. I mean, I'm stunned. We're paying $30 a month per person for record keeping? Seriously? I mean, it's just highway robbery, and I did send an article to you and Bo that basically says the census is ripping people off. Because the more money you put in, the more money they charge you, and they're just putting a number on a spreadsheet. I don't understand why, there's nothing in the employee handbook that says that the board is gonna pay these exorbitant fees. There's no indication of who's supposed to pay the fees. We've apparently been paying them, but we didn't know about it.
Matt.
It's just part of the doing business.
No?
We have had this conundrum for a long time. And that's why Bo suggested we get 3 companies to bid for our 401 and see if we can change. In the meantime, we're stuck with this. There's nothing we can do unless you want to be sued by both companies. This census bill is for a quarter. At this rate, that's, what, $3,605 a year. Randall Hurley charges us, what, $4,032 a year on their own statement. That's $7,000 plus a year for administration. And that's why we need to change. We need to change, and that's our solution.
Go ahead.
Okay, this particular agreement was signed, July 15 by Duke and, Payton, and supposedly with authorization by the board, but probably not. My point with this comment here is that moving forward, the board should be aware of the fine print and what we're getting into. And may I also suggest that you review it annually, annual review of the retirement plan. Just, that will help preventing some of these things. Just 4 years later, we are 3 or 4 board member different, and we will have questions just like the one we have here. So prevent that from happening is an annual review of the retirement plan for the employees, which is important to them, important to us. And anything you sweep them along and assume being done, that never works. So annual review, 401k, retirement plan, whoever is running it. Because this thing here was put to into action 4 years ago, and I don't know who was here 4 years ago. So you never voted on it, and we're discussing it like, you know.
We know something.
So, but, I mean, I wasn't here 4 years ago, but I was here longer than anybody else.
Yeah.
Payton and Duke refused to release any information to the board. I mean, that, I asked and asked and asked about retirement, and I could never get any information released to the board. That was illegal, but unless the board acts, we're kind of stuck. So it's a joint it's a joint failure of both the board and the manager to
So
follow
what does
the
the
law.
board want to do with the bill? We segregated it out. Tom?
I move we pay the census bill and continue to find a new plan.
And I'll have that proposal at your work session, the 3 companies. And I have already, I actually finished that up today, the RFQ of what we expect from a company like this, which include our employee policy, the vesting schedule, etc.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Director Uffenbach. Discussion, addressment.
You know, I'm not gonna support paying any bill that was entered into by an illegal contract that ended up benefiting people in a fashion that they should not have been benefited in. They were the direct beneficiaries of this illegally entered contract. And I think that's a breach of trust with the customers of this district, and I'm never gonna vote yes on that.
Okay. Further discussion.
I'd just like to say we don't know that. We don't know if there was an illegal coincidence between board or the directors there, the general manager at this time.
Unless you can produce a resolution that shows it was authorized, I think the facts are pretty clear.
Yeah, but we don't know exactly why this was done. I mean, $250 might be something that's, like they said, to make it a legal situation there, to make it move forward as a government entity, so.
This is the one for to a census for 901.
Yes.
We're the trustees. That means it's our responsibility.
Right.
And it should have been run by this board, or the previous board, or whoever.
So, with that motion on the floor not to pay, well, to pay, are we gonna send any reasoning why we're not paying it? You know, if we just send them.
Let's see if it passes or not. We don't need to discuss that until we know the outcome of the
Maybe
vote.
get a second on that to pay.
Craig
Greg
said.
second.
No.
And it's been seconded, so. Tom?
Yeah, this has been going on for years. The way to solve it is a new plan. Let's just cut our losses, continue, and get a new plan that works.
I'd only do that with Randall Hurley then too.
Because we agreed for a yearly deal with them.
I know, but they're gonna be gone too if we go to a new plan.
Well, that's their problem. The sooner they're gone, the better I appreciate it myself. I just don't wanna get into a legal
We
battle.
will do a
with
vote,
the
roll call
contract
vote.
we-
Go ahead.
Doug,
This is a motion to
To
approve the bill.
approve the
So
bill.
yes is approved, no is to not approve.
Correct.
Thank you.
Doug,
I am gonna vote not to approve.
Greg,
To approve.
Tom,
Yes,
Frank.
No,
Jeff,
No,
Pam.
No,
Me?
Yeah.
Me, Terry,
it fails.
Motion has failed. Director Esman,
motion to reverse the motion and pass a motion not to approve.
with the motion.
I just did.
is there a second?
second.
And roll call vote. Yeah, I don't think we need any more discussion on it, do we?
No.
Just a minute.
My,
Greg.
my only discussion is that everybody realizes that if we lose this, we're gonna pay more money. Finances and interest.
Doug,
I'll vote yes.
Greg,
No,
Tom,
No,
Frank,
yes.
Jeff,
Yes,
Pam.
Yes,
Me,
No,
Motion passes. Okay.
Do we need to tell them on a bill, send them a note or something to say to contact the general manager to find out why we're not paying it?
I think that would definitely be in order.
Because if they just sit back and just keep sending the same bill and add an interest to it, it doesn't do it.
Nobody
you don't
gets
go
any
anyplace.
benefit. It's just guys right there. Bo, would you be willing to see that that happens?
Yeah, and to articulate, verbalize the reasoning is that we feel that it does not cover what we have originally contracted for.
it's,
if the contract was illegally signed, they may not have a basis to sue us on, because it wasn't signed by the proper parties.
and the law is clear.
Right. No,
So they
I
may not-
understand what you're
They
saying.
may
but-
not have a good lawsuit, I don't think they do.
But, you know, normally when you have somebody sign a contract like that, you have to show proof that you're authorized to sign this contract.
You know, every time I've got a corporation that I go to the bank to make a loan, I've gotta provide corporate resolutions and authorizations, yes. That is a normal part of closing
Right.
a legal deal.
Right.
And that, my guess is they didn't go through proper process.
I noticed that both of these contract was not really signed, they were electronically signed. Anyway, I will do that. I will do that. Yep.
Yeah, because that same letter could go to both of the companies, because one is an umbrella for the other one, Census and Randall Hurley. Tom?
we send, the district, Jen sends, every payroll, the employee's contribution currently to a census. If we don't pay their bill, what's the census gonna do with that money? Are they gonna send it to Fisher to be invested on behalf of these employees, or are they gonna keep it for not paying their bill? Are our employees gonna get the shaft over this action, and we have nothing for a retirement plan? The census is responsible for distributing the money.
And they're responsible to send it through the board so that we have acting as fiduciary, we have the obligation to look at it to make sure it's the right amount. Because if they're paid more than what they're supposed to be paid, alls we can do is ask them. We have no legal grounds to go and get it. And that is spelled out in these documents also. We have no legal grounds,
Yeah.
so.
This contract was signed 4 years ago.
Sometimes it gets their attention and then,
Go ahead, Ming.
Chair, is there a way for that I can raise my hand without interrupting or anything like that? What's the best way for me to ask to?
There's a piece
Just
on
like,
your,
is that in the chat? Okay.
on your,
I don't know if anybody's monitoring it though, so.
well,
That's
your
the
hand
problem.
up.
You're
your
best
hand is
off
up
to
now.
holler now.
Yeah, your hand is up, Nate, so we'll just
Okay,
watch for your hand.
I just wanna make sure, I think everybody's assuming, Duke, Peyton were doing things underhanded. I don't believe that at all. After being on that board for 15 years, and the direction of the House Water Board that's been out there, we're certainly the worst in people. And I don't wanna do that. I think you're gonna find out that's not the case here. We've done enough audits out there in the past to see that they're doing it. And when it came down to the retirement fund, the bottom line is, the money has been there and has been good for the employees with good returns. So, I mean, that's one of the things that the assumptions are, is that Duke has been doing things underhanded. I don't see it and I don't believe it. So I would like just to
Ming,
make
I have a
that
question.
only
You,
comment there.
if my,
Thank you.
if my hearing was good, you said you've been on the board for 15 years?
No, Duke was on the board, was a general manager 15 years.
19.
Yeah.
Okay, I misconstrued that. Sorry, my bad. Frank?
if nothing else, it'll get a census, attention, and then hopefully they can make a telephone call and we can
I
have
agree
a
with you on
discussion.
Frank,
So-
Frank on that one, that'll get their attention.
Yeah, we can't,
I think that's the.
we don't want to continue on down the road like
Yeah.
we're refusing to pay, refusing to pay, refusing to pay. That's not good for us. We will not get any deals from anybody doing that. In fact, we'll get people walking the other direction. So, we need to clear on our
May I
side.
raise a question? What is the unintended consequences of your vote?
I think Tom already brought those up.
I think a census can respond with
Our
our employees,
employees. They
I
think we're
think
screwed.
I think the contract says that they will invest that money. It does not say
If you're
anything
not
about.
paying them to
Contract
do the
probably says you have to
investment,
pay your
what's
bill,
gonna
too.
stop them from doing as they please?
Where's the contract?
There you go.
Well, maybe that's where we should start,
What they contract with, we
And the-
have
with
it
all these three
But
firms.
do we have one that's dated within the last 3 years? They're required by federal law to provide one at least every 3 years.
But this, that contract was signed,
22.
4 years ago, you said.
yeah.
The
July
original.
ago.
July.
So
One
we
was
do not,
renewed.
so they do not have a valid contract. They have to update that every 3 years by federal law.
22, he
Yeah.
said 4 years ago.
The original was signed by Duke in
My
22.
question, okay, my question is very simple to the board. What is the consequences of your action?
There you go. Apparently, they don't care, my opinion.
Well, you'll have to come back to us and tell us after you meet with them. Because the consequences for them is they don't have a legal contract.
Oh, no, I
It was-
agree with
It
you.
was signed by staff, it was
Fine.
set up by staff have the option to pay it. They can each pay their $30 a month and pay their fees and get it deposited. I mean, I assume that's an option for them.
Director Urbanbach?
Would you be able to do a little research and bring us what paperwork you have? So that we can be
I
able-
have a document, I can send you a copy of this.
Okay. It might not hurt to have a little bit.
But
of
my
history.
issue here, this is not your average Joe Blow vendor. We're talking about people here that have their savings. The unintended consequences of this is that, okay, here is a check for your retirement fund, what are you gonna do with it? Are you ready to take that step, the next step?
If they give us the entire.
Or they're gonna go
fund back?
bye-bye, they're gonna say for $250 overnight, we don't have the time to do this, guys, you know? So, nice doing business, we enjoyed it for the last 4 years, but right now, I don't think we can handle this. So,
Mr. General Manager, if you're gonna bring us an RFQ in June
yeah,
for our consideration,
yep,
we should be able to wrap this up and terminate the relationship and put a
Perfect.
bow on it within 90 days. I don't think we're
Perfect.
gonna have any problems
okay.
resolving this as long as you bring us a decent plan and we follow the law in the state.
Greg?
Has the board been paying this every quarterly for the last 4 years?
No,
Yes,
Not that we know.
You don't
but
know?
we've seen it.
I've sat in on meetings before the first election, and the meetings lasted maybe a half an hour. That was the board meeting. It wasn't 2 meetings a month and committee meetings besides. That's the way it was.
And if we're straying from the topic here, just so that the board is aware, if there are ramifications, we're going to need to act quickly. So be prepared for a special board meeting at the drop of a hat. We cannot have employees' funds going out there and not doing anything. They need to be invested in it. Otherwise, we're doing a disservice to all of our employees.
I have a
Fair
question for
Christmas.
the general manager. I thought we directed that those funds were supposed to be going into a new
That's what I thought.
reserve account, not being transferred to these companies. Is
Correct.
that
No,
correct? Has
yeah.
that been set up?
Correct, yep.
So the money's not going
No,
Oh, it's not
anywhere?
even going
But the
to.
No.
old money,
Yeah,
the
there's
old,
two- there's two.
Jan-
Only our funds, only our, not the employees.
No.
Employees' funds still
Got it.
has to go. The district's funds are being reserved. We, the district, only have to make a payment once a year. That prevents people from getting money if they're not here at the end of the year. That's why we did that.
Yeah.
They're still getting the employee's contribution and not paying this bill as we've agreed in the past to do, right or wrong. Allows the census to do anything they want with the money you're sending. I'm afraid of horrible consequences, but that's why I voted the way I did, or whatever. Can we move on?
we will.
Raptillis is the next one. I had that held last month because he charges for 11 hours, but we have nothing to show what he did for 11 hours. And we still don't have anything to show what he did for 11 hours. Unlike Interstate Engineering, they itemized everything, and so now we found out what they charged and what it's for.
Are you making a motion to act on Raptillis?
Well, that was my discussion last month, if why I asked it to be held. Did anybody send him a note saying he would like you to itemize, or at least tell us what the 11 hours did you charge us for? What we got out of that 11 hours? I would like to know what we got out of that 11 hours.
Greg?
What does this company do?
This is a company that advises us on rate settings.
What rates? Okay. So they did that last rate study that,
If we hired him
Tom?
under this contract to review the city's proposal for our new rate for this year.
okay.
And we agreed to pay a maximum, I believe it was, it's $40,000. This bill is for $3,600 for reviewing it.
Okay.
Pam?
Well, I mean, I've been opposed to, I was opposed to hiring him, but, the city has approved the rates for this year. They start July 1. The purpose of approving his contract was months ago, was to get it done before the city, before it went to the city for approval, so that we understood it. It's too late, this is worthless. So, whether we pay this one or not, I think we should just terminate it. I mean, it's a very modest increase, it's not worth 40,000, to discuss it. Tom still has a question about peak hours, but to me, I don't
If you have a
understand.
contract though for $40,000, what is the termination clause in that contract?
Have we seen a signed contract? Did you sign a contract?
Yes.
I know you authorized the 40,000, but did you sign a contract?
Yes, you did.
Okay,
Too many signatures, I have to look. Director Esplin.
Well, I don't know what to think about this. I do think everybody that we pay should deliver work product before we pay them. That's been a persistent problem here. The only work product we get is the work they put in to present in their bill. That's gotta stop. We've been taken advantage of by numerous firms, and that means our customers have. On the other hand, I would like to get an apples, our new manager likes to talk about apples, and we're selling apples. Not, what I would like to get is an apples to apples comparison of the district's rates versus the city's rates, with the same tiers and the same type of rate structure in terms of customer classification. So our customers can see where their rates are versus the rates of their neighbors also in the city of Billings. I think our customers deserve to see that comparison. They can't make it now because the tiers are different. So I would be willing to continue to pay with the understanding that we get an apples to apples comparison so that we know and our customers know where our rates are versus the cities. Because we have a lot of claims made, but I want to see the numbers.
Our contract with Grant Tillers did nothing for future rates or anything else. It was just to review the city's proposal for new rates to try to work with it. The city cut them out, the contract's clear, the city's supposed to give them all the work, the city didn't. They finally got some work, they did $3,600. I have no idea what their result was, I haven't seen a final product. But according to the contract, we had 45 days to reply to the city, accepting or rejecting their contract. That time frame is over. So we're done. We never agreed to their contract, we never disagreed to their rate. The time to do that is past. This bill is under contract to be paid, it should be paid. That's my opinion.
Number one, at our next week, the work session, I will present our comparison study of the city's new rate and our proposed rate and the difference. For your typical, was it 3,000 gallons customer average, 4,000? I think we're about 12% high based on the new rates. Number two, Andy's report, Josh, was like a 90-page work document, wasn't it, on the rates?
The rate study,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
not-
like a 90-page thing.
not this one, no.
But that was $90,000.
That was last
No, that's a different contract altogether.
Yeah. But we have the city's budget on the capital improvement, which is, I think, 300 pages, almost several $100 million. So we know where they're going with their rates in the future. But at our work session in June, we'll show you what our rate study is versus the city. Because we just went through that, Josh and
Frank?
Thank you, Chair. I got just two comments. The one is the rate increase we got this year amounted to 2.3%. Cost of living is 3.2%. So they're below the cost of living. It costs them money to produce water just like anybody else. And so if he's doing a study on why we're paying him 2.3%, he's charging us $3,600. That's plumb crazy. The other thing is, on the rates, with this discovery going on between the city and the Heights, that rate study, apples to apples comparison, I am sure is going to come out in that discovery committee meeting. They're gonna ask for information, and that Morrison Maryland's gonna put it together, and they're gonna compare them apples to apples. That's my best guess.
Yeah, and we've done that, and the city rate went up 12% this year.
That's because they're adding in the West End Water Plant.
Well, they're not allowed to charge for that yet.
Yeah, they
They
are.
can charge
The city can charge their own residents, but they can't charge the Heights Water.
So, if you, historically, if you go back, guys, I don't know if anybody recorded this, but over the decades, the city has been very accommodating as far as the rate and the rate increases. I mean, looking back, and I'm talking about more than 5 years, I think they've been overall very accommodating.
Director Ellis.
The one thing I was gonna say, if you're gonna do an apples to apples comparison, you can't just look at what the city charges for 4,000 gallons. You've gotta back out, and it shows on the water bills, and Jennifer could show you what portion of that is for the West End Water Plant, because we know that our rates will go up at least 50% in the next 2 years. Having attended the last Public Works Board meeting, the prediction is that it's gonna be more than 50%.
Yeah,
Um,
Director Esmond.
Well, I'm prepared to move forward to pay this bill if the general manager will call Mr. Ring and say, don't do any more work on this. I don't want him to bill us the next $36,000.
This bill is May 14th,
I know.
so he could have more coming on.
I'd like the phone call to be made, I'm
Okay.
just stating.
Is
I
that-
second
is
your
that-
Got a
motion to pay
motion.
the bill.
Okay, I just
Oh,
want
if
to.
that's, if the board wants to, you realize the board got the ball rolling, you want to stop the ball. And if you vote on it, I will stop the ball.
Can I make an amendment to the motion? I would recommend that you call and send a written letter, because a call, you can always say, we didn't talk. Whereas if you talk and send a letter, you've got written proof that you communicated that
Sure.
you want work to cease.
Yep.
Frank?
I was gonna make an amendment that I would like to know what he did for 11 hours. I'd still like to know what we got out of that.
I don't believe in other amendments in order.
I know.
Robert's rules only allows-
There was no second to Pam's amendment, so. I still like to know what's happened with that 11 hours.
It was amendment to,
So can I accept Frank's amendment as a friendly amendment to my amendment? So we can get all three things in? And then get a
I'll
second on
I'll
that?
add that to Pam's amendment and then second her amendment.
so, can you repeat your amendment?
So the amendment is to pay this bill, ask for clarification on what was done, and have Bo follow up with a phone call and a letter stopping any further work.
I second
Nothing
that.
any further work?
Well, I thought you wanted to get an itemized in the
She
final.
had,
report.
that's what she
I
put in there.
Okay.
Okay, the amendment was seconded by Frank.
Yep.
Discussion on the amendment. Greg?
The attorneys I used to work with constantly said if it isn't in writing, it didn't happen.
Right.
Typical CYA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll vote on the amendment first. Did you have a question or a comment for me?
No.
All in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. And now to the motion
As amended.
as amended.
Who seconded the motion?
Frank?
No.
Oh,
I
no.
seconded.
I voted nay on that, please.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
I voted second, I seconded the amendment. Who had seconded the
I
motion?
seconded Jeff's motion to pay the bill.
Right.
All right. Director Bowen.
Now the vote on the amended motion. Not the amendment, but the amended. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Is that the end of it?
Yeah.
Motion has passed.
An hour and 10 minutes to get through.
Okay, so we
It
got
was
the
all important
consent
stuff.
agenda done. Oh my goodness.
There was a lot of stuff in that agenda,
There was.
number 6.
Okay, the financials, is there a amendment to approve or not approve the stifle statement and the STIP?
Do they need to be approved?
I think it was just more informational than
Just-
anything.
just
I didn't have
informational?
anywhere else to label
Okay.
them, so.
We'll put it under informational. Managers report. Vote.
Thank you. Normally, what I have done is to report on our sales or production. Believe it or not, the city of Billings have not invoiced us yet, and it's 19th of June. So I had Susie call them, so where's the invoice? And what they're doing, apparently they're realigning their computer system or something. So they just simply do not have the numbers. So that's kind of unusual. But we know they need the money probably. But the water sales for the month was up 3.4% over last year. And year-to-date, almost 6%. And the total revenues were up, what on, 22%
Over last year?
over last year, same month.
Month to month.
Why? Service line fees, 71,000. And over half of that was one customer. You want to elaborate on that? Was it
Caliber Collision, they had a 4-inch fire line, so a 4-inch system development fee, $45,000.
So that's a rather substantial and unusual, which we did not have last month. Year to date, we are behind in dollar revenue by 5.2% or $267,000. And why? We had, what, $500,000 in grant? No, that was in our budget prior year. We had, yeah, it was $500,000 that we didn't have, so we're actually up versus like $250,000 in billing. The purchases of water, we are up 16%, but year-to-date, 14.2% below, while the revenues are still high. So you do the math. We get more of the apples this year than we did last year, even though they weigh the same. I don't want to elaborate too much on that, but we are preparing for the next phase of what the city is doing. And the trajectory of water sold versus cost of water is very favorable. The other thing we look at is what are the negative variances, the operating expenses, and we are talking about, for the month, we had $19,000 total of unfavorable variances. So what does that represent? That represents 37.9% of those line items. And I will provide you with the details here at working sessions. But what's interesting is that if you look at year-to-date, for those same items that we are 37.9% above year in the month, we're actually $51,000 down compared with our favorable 0.7%. So year-to-date, we're fine. And you know, you take snapshot, especially a small operation like this, it becomes a timing issue of certain bills. So what's more important is to look at the year-to-date, where are we year-to-date versus, and you notice I have not talked about the budget. The budget was so out of focus this year, so I haven't mentioned that. But we can relate to what happened last year. Okay, so what are the positive variances? The positive variants are, there are quite a few of those, and we had a net favorable variance of $11,007, or minus almost 30%. Some typical, the number one item was legal fees. We didn't have any legal fees last month, and last year $3,200. Repair and maintenance is down. Workman's comp was down. Here again, this could be timing issues. However, year to date, the same items are actually up 69,000 or 18%. So let me not confuse you with all the numbers. You will have that in your packet for the next board meeting. Now, the summary, the revenue, as I mentioned, was up 22%. COGS was up 16%. So when COGS, the water purchases exceed the revenue increase, we got a problem. We don't get enough money for our apples. So here we do, 22 versus 16. Operating expenses are up 8, only 8.2%. Other income, 310%. Okay, Bo, what is that? Now, that is actually the 401k. We look at it as income. It really isn't income. It's a fund we have. And right now, it is around $3,500, I believe. Other expenses. Now, what are other expenses? Those are the engineering project, engineering fees, total 49,000 versus only 5,000 last year. So year to date, those fees are actually $185,300 more than last year. So these engineering fees, as you have noticed, the travel time, the drone, I think that's just the tip of the iceberg, if you want my personal opinion. So I've sent you, Jeff, some detail on year-to-date expenses by project, and also a monthly. I don't know if everybody got it. I know, Jeff, because you sent me an email. You received it.
I think you sent it to everybody, I think.
Yeah.
It went out at 5:18 tonight.
We'll include that next, Josh, in next packet, so you all have it in writing, so to speak, on your. So.
I do have a question about it.
Yep.
Since it's fresh in your mind tonight.
Yep.
So there's two spreadsheets here
Yep.
totaling up 28 and 29.
Yep.
The top one is invoice work completed, $334,531.16. Is that since since the inception of these task
The
orders?
beginning of task order 28.
And 29?
And what's so bad about this whole thing, Jeff, is that these are all authorized board projects, and you guys gotta follow it up every year. What are we doing here? Well, we're feeding the chicken, or are we planting apple trees? And
So my other question is the bottom spreadsheet then.
those are the latest invoice, unfortunately.
So we've got
60,000.
new invoice. This is
Yeah.
just for the month to date is
Yeah, we
an
just got it
additional
2 days ago.
$280,000.
Yeah. So we
So-
gotta review those. Josh and I will review those, and we should have a separate meeting with Brad and go through the drone thing, the travel time, and just try to make business sense out of this and get back to the board and say, these invoices, we did this, these invoices, we couldn't move, but these invoices, we cut in half or something. Because these invoices, you realize they're all based on authorized projects. Now, who is watching this chicken coop? The fox or the wolf?
So here's my question.
Yeah.
If I add the 334 and the 280,
Yeah.
that means we've spent so far $614,000 in engineering fees that the preliminary engineering review now says is not the best investment of our money. So
You mean as far as the northwest, the transmission pipeline?
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. But you guys authorized it several years ago and said, hey, this is great. This is
Can
a
we-
great project. Now it's just, oh, have they been drinking when they did this? You know, so you have to review this every year. You have to, it's just,
Can we
it's just
stop the
still.
spending?
Yeah, but it's board driven. So you gotta set up some way you can check on these projects, because this is cancer. This is a cancer.
Well,
It's just eating.
can you suspend them till we can?
Well, Josh and I suggest we meet, and we go through every line and every damn invoice, because we just got $60,000 worth of additional invoices in the last 48 hours.
Well, here, this is, I think, this is my concern. I made a motion last winter to stop the spending, and I couldn't get the votes to stop the
I
spending.
voted with.
Well, now it's your
It
opportunity.
wouldn't pass, so I think we should discuss it pronto, because, they're in a new office, that's fine, but, we're paying for something now that we don't need. So I don't know why we should have them spend another 5 minutes on
Well-
that project.
We have signed projects in place. I would suggest or recommend for the board to consider that Josh and I review every line item on open invoices, every line item, and report to you at your work session. Every invoice, this is what we recommend, and a course of action. Once you have the data and the details on the project, the intended project, and the resolutions, you could take an action, and we could stop it. But doing it now by the need, it's obvious, I don't want to spend any money if I stop. That might not be the smartest move at this point. Let us review and see what we can do to reduce the current invoices, which are considerable for a small company like this. They're considerable.
Well, for the ground testing, that was the geosurvey?
Well, they haven't completely started that.
I
That
got the
latest
invoices
report.
for 'em.
Yeah.
They're in there.
So, yeah, but they were in that, the monthly report, I included, the monthly report I just got yesterday, and I included that in my email to you, Jeff, after I sent those charts. I had them verbalize each project, it has nothing to do with dollar, what are we doing? And there are a lot of question marks there.
Well, the red flag for me was when you told us that they presented you a report and then asked you if you'd like them to change it. To me, that was improper. A good engineer doesn't do that. The report is based on their best professional judgment, and they stand behind it, and they defend it. They don't say, what would you like? It stinks. It stinks.
Let's continue with your report.
I do have, task
more
order
comment.
28 and 29 were signed by Peyton. Those are contracts. They don't have a legal contract with this district. We have a resolution on the agenda tonight that no contracts be signed without an attorney going forward. I would like to make a motion that we stop, that we do not, well, it's too late at this point, but that we stop any further work until task orders 28 and 29 have been reviewed by an attorney, until Bo and Josh have met with Interstate Engineering and tried to get it out. We need a contract that's written, that is clear that they do not have the authority to do whatever they want. It has to be approved by the board and by the management, and any illegal contract is null and void.
And the problem with that is, Josh, that 28 is the transmission line, correct? So that was all in works, but the board actually stopped there.
Right, but 28 is signed by Peyton. That's not legal.
Yeah, but it's a housekeeping,
It isn't a housekeeping, it's a law.
Why do we have, how come you guys permitted these managers to sign all these contracts? But I think what's important here is to
They
move
were all
forward.
voted
It's
on
in
and
interest of
approved
time. If
by
you will
resolution.
authorize Josh and me to go through every one of these bills, line item by line item, because we had 60,000 in the last 12 hours, and we have this other 30 or 40,000. So we review everything, and after we have that review in detail for you at the next meeting, and based on the projects and the degree of completion, is it 30, 70%? Okay, we will recommend a course of action for you to vote on, project by project, what to do and not to do. Talking about it is not going to solve it. Blaming Peyton and whoever else was in the backseat when it happened it's not gonna get us there. So, looking forward, let's cut the losses, let's cut the bleeding, and move forward based on facts, based on black and white stuff. This is where we are. Dollars and project, dollars and project, rather than just say how bad these guys were in the past, you know?
No, I'd like you to call them and apply a tourniquet, so it could slow the bleeding down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is it standard operating procedure to say, like, let's take Raptilus for example, yeah, you can have up to 40,000. Do you think he's gonna stop before he gets 40,000 spent? I don't think we should tell people how much they're gonna get, and both 28 and 29, give them an amount that they can spend. Why would you stop?
Right, no, I agree with you. I mean, that's our problem.
Yeah,
Somebody
hey, you can
voted
spend
to-
300,000, okay, we'll do it.
No. But anyway, I think we all agree on how to move forward here, is to get the facts, the dollars and cents fact, and also project facts. Do they apply to today's world, you know? And
Good idea.
Alternative 4 is a good example. Here we had a $900,000 proposal, and everybody was, it looks great, it's the cheapest, and we had, what, 6 proposals? In reality, we didn't have to do a damn thing. We had the solution in-house, spending no money.
We have the solution from the city in October. And the city gave us a review of the options in 3 pages for nothing.
Okay,
They were
we're
no
not
better than what we
gonna
got.
finish the meeting tonight till midnight if we don't continue
We'll cut it
along.
short.
Let's get off.
So, how was your report? Is it fairly,
Excuse me?
how much of your report is left?
Oh, sorry. Well, you're in the month, we had several meetings. We don't have any more additional employees. We haven't had any major issues. What I like to do is send Josh to an educational seminar, the GSI. Now,
GIS.
you know, we might hook up to the city. They have a complete system. And you want to explain it in layman's term, what I'm talking about?
It's just the GPS, the mapping of the district. It's through ArcGIS. It's that's the same program that the city uses for all of their mapping. Ours is very rudimentary at the moment. It's all, we've gone around and we've collected the GPS points, and that's about as far as we have on the map. So in order to progress that map and utilize and leverage that technology, we need to have somebody that knows how to run it. And that would be, again, you guys are all gonna come out of your shorts. The way we have it set up now is, again, through Interstate Engineering, they have an umbrella of services. They have a GIS guy in Sheridan that maintains kind of an on-call service. So if we need something, we need to have layers updated or, you know, additional information imported, we get a hold of him, and it's on like an hourly basis. He offers a 3-day training where he will come up, they'd have him come up, and he goes through a training seminar, has all different kinds of information you throw at me. But again, it's through Interstate Engineering, so I don't know.
But Josh, what's wonderful with this is that we have the computer system. There's no upgrading needed, there's no cost. And number 2, we're working on potential consolidation with the city already have this. But this is probably one of the first things they would do. And doing the due diligence, I think the people, the engineering firms we're working with, they would love to see that we actually have something in place or a plan to upgrade the system. And to fully appreciate it, we really should have, and we could show you at the work session, Josh, in June, what you're talking about. I think that, because graphically to show what we're proposing is a little different, because right now it's just voodoo. So, and you're not gonna vote on this anyway, but I think, you know, like the planned tour we had Monday, it's in our best interest to inform you as much as we can in great detail of what we can do or should be doing. And it should be something similar to what the city of Billings is already doing. So this is a win-win for us, the county, the city, whatever. And I think if you could set aside 5 minutes during our work session to show Click, I think you will be impressed.
So the point of this would be to bring the work in-house so that it would reduce expenses out.
Yeah,
More of
oh
it,
yeah, big
A
time.
lot more of it.
Correct.
The
There's-
city
Okay.
probably have 5, 6 people doing this work.
They got, yeah,
And
they have
Josh-
a room full of full-time GIS guys, that's all they do.
Tom?
This sounds like day-to-day operations, which is above the board, and I trust the general manager to do his job and do the day-to-day, especially training to save us money.
Frank?
I have no problem.
No, I'm not very technologically savvy, you can tell if you look at my computer, but I think our IT is Morrison and Merrily, is that not true? And I think they're also an engineering firm, I believe.
Yeah.
And maybe they do GIS and maybe they could do it because there are IT and all that, they could probably do it easier and probably cheaper than Interstate. Maybe we should ask them.
That's a consideration. Why don't you look into it? The only reason why Josh is bringing it up is that looking back the last 5 years, the amount of money you guys have spent on training is basically nothing. And training, skill building of the people is a wonderful thing. And it's important to stimulate the growth of the individual. It beats many times the pay increase. It gives pride, and it shows all of the members of our organization that, wow, they're actually educated. They're actually willing to spend some money on upgrading this system and upgrading the skill level of the employees. Those are good signs. Those are good things to talk about. But historically, we have spent about $1,000 a year on skill building. So this would probably be 5,000 to 6,000 possibly when it's completed. So I suggest to Josh that we take it in stages and see what the benefits are. It's not an astronomical amount of money. So I didn't mean to take this long time.
No.
But in June, if you can permit,
That'll
Josh.
be July, we already had our
Oh.
June work session.
July, okay,
July 4th it is.
yeah.
Can-
Just 5 minutes to show you.
July
Third,
Oh,
Okay.
Can I-
July 3rd, right, sorry.
Can I make one comment? When I was on the school board, we spent a fortune sending staff to train on GIS, and they were never successful in being able to use it. It's quite complex. I don't think 5,000 or 6,000 is reasonable. I think by the time you bring somebody out for 3 days, that's at least $3,000 a day, plus driving, plus mileage, plus per diem. I think you're looking at 10,000 to 15,000.
No, we have a quote.
You have a
The
quote,
cost would
okay.
be my hourly rate plus mileage and expenses. 8 hours times 3 days of training, plus 4 hours of drive time at $170 an hour, $4,900. 260 miles at 68 cents a mile is $177. Food and lodging, approximately $720.
So what's the total?
Just under
I think it was
$6,000.
6,000 plus.
yeah.
But,
Two more comments and then we're
Yeah.
gonna move on.
Right.
Greg, go ahead.
I'm very much in favor of GIS. I was around the county system and they have a huge GIS program. I'm very much in favor of it.
Thanks.
Okay,
But,
well,
but the thing is we're talking about interstate
Give
again.
it to us ahead of time.
Are we gonna have issues with
I
interstate
know,
on
but
this like we are the
We
other
messed up
stuff?
at 518.
So they don't have a pretty good track record with us right now, so what is the situation with interstate and GIS?
Well, I think we should ask Josh to come up with a quote from other engineering firms of this.
Morrison Merrily being our IT, it should
Yeah,
fit
Tom,
right in.
go ahead.
As somebody who looks at the city's bills every 2 weeks, the city constantly pays Morrison Merrily for their GIS work, and some of those bills are really high. But they're not only GIS and water lines, they have storm sewer, sanitary sewer, street boundaries, city boundaries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that this district does not have. So it is possible to do it and save some money.
All righty. So, thank you for the monthly report, and we'll move to agenda item number 2 under manager, district insurance, and that's on page 64 in your agenda package.
Did you want me to
Yeah,
mention
you're-
something, or?
Okay, the commercial package policy
Yeah,
was expiring at 80,409, the renewal is 86,218,
yeah,
and the commercial directors and officers expiring was 13,737, and that remained the same. So basically speaking, we have roughly a $6,000 increase.
yeah, I have the detailed policy here, but in the interest of time, is there any particular question on the limits?
That is also, we're at the end of the 3-year, Cincinnati quotes out for 3 years, so that would be a lock on that price for the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah. So this is more of it's not a commitment on our part though for 3 years, but they're gonna lock the rate in 3 years. So that,
So we'll
I'm
be
glad you
locked into
mentioned
the
that.
commercial directors and officers at that high rate then, huh?
No,
No.
that's annual.
Okay.
The district insurances, that's the 3-year.
Tom, you had a question?
Yes, does this cover our hail insurance on our buildings and equipment?
hell no.
Good one.
Yeah, that's the storm.
The flood, the fire, the fungi,
It does cover it,
For
fire
fire
protection and stuff for the
Yeah,
building.
that's all.
I will confirm that to
Yeah, the only question would be, most of the commercial liability or property destruction claims have been going to a 1% or 2% deductible instead of $1,000 or $2,000. And so you've got it can be a big number if you've got a expensive building. And so you need to have reserves on the deductibles to cover that. But we've got reserves now, we know, and they're accessible on 48 hours notice.
So, do we need a resolution to accept the premiums?
Yes, please.
When is the policy due? When is the money due?
July. So it coincides with our,
July 1st is the
Mhm.
premium, is the fiscal year insurance fund.
yeah.
Right.
So,
More than 80,000.
I would like to make a request if we got enough time is to search like 2 or 3 other insurance companies and see, because
It's due
just
July
sticking
1st.
with your same old insurance company isn't always the best way to go anymore. It used to be, but it isn't anymore.
Well, we did look into another insurance company that is, because I understand that insurance for utilities is kind of a specialized market, and there's 2 major players around here. And our agent, Richard Beggar, who was in the other day, can quote us both. And Josh, he said that,
It's not, the Grundy is not as comprehensive. They sell both options, but
right,
this is the one that they quote more because it's a better, larger umbrella coverage, larger More comprehensive, that's the word, more comprehensive coverage.
Tom?
I'm curious of what our liability limits are for if we're out doing work in somebody's property, putting in a new curb box, what our liability limits are.
It all depends on what it is, but the regular limit, aggregate limit is $3 million. Product complete operation aggregate is $3 million. Employee benefit liability, $1 million. And today, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I was asking.
So on page 17, I think it is, very top of the page,
Yeah,
prior year to date was $12,910 for business insurance, and then current year to date is $94,000. That's a 632% increase. Was that a phony number? The prior year, and how could it be a phony number? Because you actually know what the number is because you pay the insurance bill. So how did the 12,910 get in, or was it actually true and we're paying that much more now?
okay, now you're on page 17.
Page 17, the very top line, 510, business insurance.
Yeah. Well, that's a year-to-date number in April.
Well, then you got the prior year to date was only $12,900.
Well, Josh,
No,
I
it
think
was-
that's a timing issue.
it was a-
These monthly, we paid the bill, not monthly, we
It
paid.
was paid and it was posted in June, so
Yeah.
when it was posted in June for the July premium, so when it shows up, it owes $12,000, I think that was the DNO.
It says
They
prior
came with-
year to date.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, so like,
This-
it was in June, and then for the fiscal year,
Our Black Mountain system is somewhat, Sesame Street, it's kind of a cash-based system. You notice depreciation expense is not here. I mean, that should be on a monthly basis, that's part of operation. Even, we fund it, but we don't write it off. So there is a number of things that actually should be spread out on a monthly basis for better management control. So you will have the 6-act, but the year end is the number to beat. But I like to recommend that we have a little more sophisticated system in the Black Mountain where we do it on a monthly basis, the budget on a monthly basis, and as the bill comes in, it should work itself out. But having a zero for depreciation, our depreciation is what, $700,000 a year? This doesn't show up on your P&L statement.
Yeah.
I'd like to get back to the agenda and make a motion to approve the next year's insurance
So,
coverage, because we can't go without it.
Right. Moved by Jeff, seconded by Tom, to accept
and to pay.
and to pay. We gotta do the and to pay now too.
You agree, Jeff? We need to
Yes.
pay the premium.
I don't want to be here if there's no DNO coverage.
Right. Any further discussion? Any public comments? All in favor of said motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion has passed unanimously. And we'll now move to
Purchasing
item number 3, purchase order policy. That's on page 55 through 59 in the agenda package. Has everybody had a chance to look that over? Has everyone had a chance to look that over?
So this, as I read it, it basically gives our general manager authority to establish a system, bill review.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna, as he does that, he'll bring us a presentation so we can understand how he's implementing this resolution. Is that the plan?
This proposed policy has been airlifted from the city. I took theirs and I just made
Yes.
very small changes. So, make it palatable and looking forward to this potential consolidation, whatever. The more we do look alike, the better off we all are. And I mentioned that to Louis during our last meeting, is that we want to learn from you and we want to benefit from your purchasing practices. We buy several hundred meters a year. We buy Badger, they buy Neptune. Why? So there's a lot of different areas. And policy and management, I think we're perhaps 10 years behind here. We don't have many policies. And we're a small organization. 10 years ago, there was 4 or 5 people here. So we are growing, and with your help, we'd like to continue to grow. And in the meanwhile, you can shoot a lot of holes in our sail because we're very vulnerable. We don't have much in place as far as management structure and policies, and we're working. And I have another 3 policies in the hopper that I sent to Doug, and hopefully we'll present them to you at the next meeting on cars and other things, etc.
I have a couple questions. One, it references an ethics policy, but I'm not aware that the district has an ethics policy.
In our employee manual, I think there's something about it, but we don't have a formal ethic policy. But I do believe they're in the policy manual that
Which we
on our
are
conduct.
in the process of changing. Jeff?
Can we get a conflict of interest policy as part of this package?
In the in the purchasing or general.
Yes, any expenditures.
Yeah,
We need to know if there's relationships between staff and vendors.
yeah,
Award committees.
Correct.
The other thing that, one of the reasons that came out is there's been board upset about spending money on ice cream parties for staff birthdays. That just isn't done in government expenditures. So are you gonna cease those kind of expenditures?
no. I told Jen today that this came up on the board meeting, and I will personally pay for birthday cakes and gift certificate for the employees of the birthday. I think it's a policy. I like this team. I want to recognize them, like most other smaller private companies do. We happen to be in the government. That doesn't mean we're not human.
Yeah, what most government entities do is the staff have a social committee and they put in money. But what you're saying is you're not gonna be spending ratepayers' money, right?
No, I'm going to spend
So,
my own money.
yeah, that's what's important, I think.
Yeah. No, I mentioned that to Jen, correct? I mentioned that to you today. And I don't want that to be, but you guys have so many other things to talk about. Please, Tom's ice cream cakes, birthday party, I'll take care of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
can I say something here? My goodness, you're gonna worry about somebody's birthday because it's a government company? Come on, you gotta treat people like people, rather than thinking that, the government is in their way. My goodness, if somebody's having a birthday or having a bad day, or they're a husband in the hospital, you're gonna say, we're not a government entity, and we're not gonna recognize your loss?
And
Come on,
flowers.
let's be real here, be human.
Okay, Tom?
I agree with Ming. Trust our general manager. I don't want to
And
micromanage.
I
I
don't want
don't
it
want
out
to
of this
look at
pocket. It has to be something that we have, as a district, we need to honor our people rather than treating them like this. We're not a communist country.
getting close.
That's the way it is. It's like we're looking at them as government entities and socializing, we're doing stuff to them. My goodness, we're trying to help them. We're not trying to make them part of something that we're trying to do. So honor them and don't let the general manager take it out of his own pocket just because he has to do it, because, it's a nice thing to do. It
Thank
should
you,
be
Min.
something we should consider.
Any other comments on the board? Tom?
Well, I was trying to get where Ming is, so we got to. I have a couple of problems with this policy. When folks said he copied the cities, On page 58, it says the policies apply to all county water district departments and divisions. I didn't know we had different departments and divisions.
That's part of
I
that,
thought we
that
were
I
just
didn't
one
say.
little entity distributing water.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
like I
that's
said, I
pretty good.
airlifted it, so I didn't check.
On page 58, it
Yeah.
says this policy applies to obtain maximum value for each tax dollar expended. This district does have a legal right to levy taxes.
Mhm.
However, it has never levied a tax. It does receive tax dollars in the form of grants and loans. But this policy says the only thing they're being frugal about is tax dollars. The real frugally needs to be involved with the rates and fees that our customers pay,
Zone,
not the 2 or 3 tax
underscope.
dollars that we get through. So I hope you can rewrite this. The
Yeah,
last
yeah,
thing
yeah.
I didn't like was the last paragraph. It says the board of directors will evaluate this every 2 years. That's too often. We don't need to evaluate every policy every 2 years, but they do need to be reevaluated. I think 5 years is a reasonable time. They don't have to and should not all come due at the same time, so once every 5 years, you're doing 50 policies. I hope you can redo this and bring it to us in a better form where it applies just to this district and has the clause in it Jeff wanted for, what do you call it? I can't say the name now.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest, and get rid of this tax dollar expenditure, because we don't expend it tax dollars.
Yeah.
So I think this needs a rewrite,
Yeah.
so I move to table it for rewrite.
Okay.
The move to table,
I'll second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you for getting started on it.
Where are
Good
you at,
start.
Ming? Aye or? Can't
You
hear
do
you.
it.
Okay, so did we have a resolution put forward? I'm sorry.
Move to table,
Okay, thank you.
so, yay or nay from you?
Yeah,
Okay,
table it, yes.
okay. We'll move down to old business then. And if it's ready for the work session, we can discuss it at the work session, and then when it's brought to the board meeting,
Okay,
it should go through without too many hiccups.
yeah.
Item number 1 under old business is the final approval of the general manager's fiscal year 24-25 budget, page 60 to 63. Any questions, comments, changes you'd like to see?
I had a slight addition here. As you can see, this budget has been modified slightly in one area, and that is in salaries and related costs. And that 4.9 for 5% increase, looking at it, it looks high, but I don't think the salary increase will happen July 1, and this budget is based on July 1. It's not a monthly budget, though. If you look at the monthly budget, when it will take place, and generally, we give a raise every 12 months, which will, Josh, when is, or Jen, when is the next?
It was
Rate
done in
review.
December last year.
So,
wasn't it?
Historically, it had been done in June to be July 1st, but usually it got tabled through July, and it would go into August, and then they'd retro it back to July.
okay, but the last rate increase or review was December?
Yep.
So if you look at that, let's say a period, October, November, in that area, and I like to make this budget here, if it's approved, on a monthly basis, when the expense, we anticipate actual expense to happen from a cash flow purpose. We don't have a cash flow forecast here, but we should have a cash flow forecast showing the changes in the revenue and the expenses, because some of them are not on a monthly basis. So what I'm saying, by year end, it might not be 4.9%, it could be less than that.
Tom has a question.
A couple of years ago, raises was moved till December, and we had an 18-month rate increase. Then they wanted to move it back to June. And that got put off, and it was another 18-month time frame for employees. Then last December, it was decided, and our employees were told, the annual raises would occur July 1. We need to do the annual employee evals raises consistent so the employees know when it's gonna happen. They were told July 1 last December. They got a 4% increase. They need to know now what their rate is gonna be July 1st, because that's what we told them in December. It's only fair that this district follows through on its word. You demand the suppliers to follow through on their contract. This district needs to follow through on its word to its employees and grant a raise for the next year effective July 1. Now, that's gonna be your job to figure it out and bring to the.
Tom, I have a question. You stated July 1st. I think that was to be in the budget. Maybe, I'll have to go back and review.
We can grant a raise in our July board meeting retroactive to July 1. Most businesses end up with a retroactive raise after negotiating with employees. But we need to keep our word with our employees that their annual eval rate increase is gonna be.
We have a
That's what we're told.
we have a brand new general manager who would like to institute raises on merit
That's fine. I've
and
got
would
no
like
problem
to sit down with each employee and go through what they do, and base it on merit rather than base it on a union where everybody gets the same. Jeff, you have a comment?
Well, I appreciate that instinct, and even if it takes some time for him to sort that out. I mean, the other thing I think we need to sort out is this profit sharing plan. That can have an impact. We need to sort out the health insurance coverage because it's quite disparate with what's, I'm fine with excluding Roundup, and I'm fine with, let's just look at what's typical in Yellowstone County. That's our market. We still need more data on that. I'd like to have him think about, a cafeteria plan where we can, apply this money appropriately and then allow staff to make a determination whether they want to spend it on their health care coverage or put it into their retirement plan. But that's gonna take some time. That doesn't mean that once he gets that sorted out and brings us a recommendation that we like, supported by data and performance reviews, and I'm happy to hear he wants to do that he can't, we can't, we may vote to make it retroactive. We can still keep our commitments, but I think we should get the information and let him do a professional job.
Correct.
That's what we hired.
So if, based on your original request of wage review and benefit review, I think we have completed that study, and Janet's done a good job doing that. We just concluded it last week, and he shows all the benefit and the wage scale, and it's very nice. Now, I think what the board has focused on is the $2,000 versus the city's $833. But the reality is that we pay 100% of the health care. There are others that pay that 100%. Now, if we can make that 100%, not 2,000, but less, and I understand that the last benefit package actually was approved by the board for the employees, the particular package. So what I recommend is that July 3rd work session, number one, we present the conclusion on the wage, so we have, the project is complete, this is what it is. on wages and benefits, and come up with a plan on how to potentially reduce the healthcare dentist. There's two components to our healthcare program.
Life insurance, eye vision,
Eyes, yeah, health. So, Jen, that is complete from water utilities in the area. Now, also in Jeff's recommendation, we're networking with Wallet. So after the July holiday, I talked to Mike over there. Nice individual. They have a lot of stuff going on. So we'll go over there and sit down and talk to him. And he does business with the city. I was thinking about a real funny line here, but I'm not gonna say it. They send all their stuff across the river to the city.
You know what you're talking about.
Effluent, that's the word.
That's the growth word.
So anyway, we're gonna do that and do more of that, and hopefully come up with some way we can learn from each other. And I mentioned this to Louis too, at the city, the educational part, because they have educational parts now. They do have a union, so it's gonna be a little problem, but we can do things together to build a skill level of our employees, and we can work on all these benefits and everything else. We talked about the retirement plan with the state. I mean, there's so many things, and we should not just sit here in a vacuum thinking that we know it all, we can do it. You know, no. Other people out there, trust me, that do a lot better than we do, more efficient. So we're learning, every day we're learning something, and 50% of the time the hard way, but that's true learning on the other way too.
I have two questions on the budget.
Go ahead.
Well, three questions. First question is, if we approve the budget, that doesn't approve salary increases or benefit increases, it just puts dollars in there. Two, I didn't see in the budget where the $175,000 is for the consolidation study. Is that in there somewhere and I just didn't see it?
Where did you get that number from?
Yeah.
I got it from the last board meeting. I was told by Jeff that it's $100,000 for the engineering study and $75,000 for the study of the pipes, the pipe assessment.
none of that's been
No,
approved
no.
by
We
the
don't-
board, so why
There
would
was,
it be a
they
budget?
haven't even gone out for, well, they've gone out for quotes, but they haven't gotten any quotes yet.
Right, but shouldn't we have money in the budget? I mean, that's the estimate. That's what we got at the last board meeting. That should be in the budget. That's a significant
Well,
cost.
It is a good point, because we know approximately what it's gonna be.
Right.
But those are not official, so nobody
They're
knows
not
those.
official, but
No.
you know it's coming, so you should budget for it.
Well,
Well, I think we can do a budget amendment any month we want to. We just need to establish a regular process for that. It's very typical in the school board, the city, the county. It happens all the time. So let's get the real numbers. We'll do it properly. I'd
Speaking of-
rather do it properly with real numbers than put a number in and then have everybody go, oh, wait, we're over budget, so.
We did make a budget amendment, but it hasn't gone on to the budget item yet. I looked at that this last
Still
time,
there.
and it still shows a deficit. It shows we're overspent in that account, which we are not.
So,
Greg?
and my third thing is, I think by law, when we collect money for system development or for the $1.30 line fee, that has to be put in a separate account. We can't dump it into the general fund. That law has existed for a long time, and they modified it again at this last session. So we need to get that money segregated. What I don't know is, can you have two STIP, I mean, the best fund for money is STIP by far. And I don't know if you can have two STIP funds, but that would be ideal.
yeah, I'm not familiar with it. Josh, do you know anything about that? Let us research that and get back to you, but I'm not aware of it.
Jeff?
No, I think even if you just have one fund, you can account,
Yeah.
you can have a general reserve account and then a, you know, system development fee account. It's a
All in the
bookkeeping
general
entry,
reserve.
and the three would total up. So I
Yeah.
think that's a bookkeeping issue.
But-
I think our staff can deal with
But
it.
it legally has to be in an interest-bearing account. And I thought I sent you the statute on that, but, so it'd have to be skipped.
What the county did is they created in the budget a contingency account for things that were outside the budget. But in order to get into that contingency, it had to be voted on by the commissioners. It couldn't just be indiscriminately spent. So that is another way to put a number into the budget. It's just called a contingency account. And it does need board approval to get into it. But it's in the budget, so it shows up and
So would they move funds then from the contingency account to another account number that's already in the budget? That's,
upon board approval.
yeah, instead of going into reserves. Jeff?
Downside is if you do that, for example, if you're building a building, usually your contractor ends up getting that, if they know it's sitting there, so. There's upsides and downsides to that,
Yes,
so.
there is. Tom?
I move for approval of the budget as presented.
For a second.
I'll say.
Second by Greg. Further discussion on the budget.
I just have one more question. So does the budget assume that we're gonna raise rates this year, or are we gonna leave them, since we're already collecting, since we know we're collecting 107% of our expenses, are we gonna leave the water rates where they were? Because last year we increased them anywhere from 18 to 42% on residential people.
That was depending on usage. You know, as you know, we went from that 3,000 gallon to a fixed
2-0.
price for the meter, and then
Customer
per
price.
thousand, and that have proven to enhance our revenues.
It's more than that. That was a 42% increase on that. But every single tier went up anywhere, the 4,000 gallons went up 46%, the 10,000 gallons went up 26%, the 20,000 gallons went up 18%. It was a huge increase. And it was done because we had been overcharging commercial and undercharging residential. But last year, our cost of water went up 0. And that was our cost, and that's what we did to ratepayers. So to me, that's more than adequate for 2 years.
It is shown in the budget what is budgeted for income and what's budgeted for expense, so it is accounted for in there. Jeff?
Well, and we can't, just because we put this number in here doesn't mean we've adopted a rate increase.
Right.
I think it would be prudent for us to, I expect when these summer bills come, you know, we may be selling fewer apples because the price, the bills may be a shock to some customers. So
Yeah, I think you're gonna see
we
a
don't know
spike
what's
in
gonna,
the-
what kind of reaction we're gonna get and what the needs are at this point. I think we'll know a lot more by September, my guess.
Frank?
This budget actually is just a guideline that you try not to go over that amount.
Good
And so
analogy.
it doesn't mean you need to spend all that's there, but you try not to go over that much.
Right.
So nothing is set in stone, that's just a guideline. And so I think it looks good. We had a big discussion last year when we decided to use the year before's budget. Everybody is screaming, oh, we're gonna have to change it every month, and we're still only 94% of the total budget, and we got 1 month to go. That's pretty good.
Any other comment? Ming?
Yeah, I think we just go ahead and approve this thing, and again, I agree with what Director Ewald said, it's a budget proposal. And it's gonna fluctuate either or, and we're not gonna be dilly-dallying again, waiting 3 months to get this thing done, so we can continue on with what we need to do. We've got other things to worry about,
Thank you, Ming.
like whether we give cakes for our employees or not.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we will vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign.
Jen had public comment. You should have made her stand
That she
up
was
in front.
stretching.
I was not.
We'll take your public comment, go ahead.
I actually had a question going back to the purchase of cakes somebody had mentioned. Flowers.
I'll take that too.
Well, hold on, I have a question for the board as far as that goes. Not purchasing flowers for one of our employees whose family members passed away, I think, is, in my opinion, disrespectful to the employee, because it doesn't show that you care. And I can tell you,
Absolutely.
after my dad passed away, that was very meaningful coming from my coworkers, that they cared enough to purchase that.
Agreed. Thank you, Jen.
Even if you don't do the cakes, the flowers for,
There was a bouquet of flowers there from Heights Water District. I don't know who purchased it. Because my wife worked at the funeral, and there
Yes.
was a bouquet there, so.
no, I'm saying, it means a lot as an employee to have that from,
Well, don't tell them it's from me, it's from Hype, that's important.
There's nothing preventing any board member or the general manager from passing the hat.
Right.
You know, I don't think this board is hard-hearted. You know, I do think it is, you know, it's trying to get things orderly. And, you know, pass the hat, we can chip in, we'll be decent people, and we'll treat our employees decently. We just wanna do things in a proper fashion.
Tom, this is all public comment now,
If the-
so I don't have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about, but go ahead.
If the GM wants to buy a bouquet of flowers for an employee's spouse, father, grandfather, that's his day-to-day operational authority. It shouldn't be questioned until maybe during his review. Are you spending too much outside the budget on frivolous things? Not monthly. This is BS, called a bouquet of flowers, something that needs to be in the budget. This is the general manager's job to take care of his employees and treat his employees with respect. And our job is to understand he's doing a good job. We do have a clause in his contract to mandatorily review it. That's the time we can get into stuff like this, not monthly, not in the budget.
Okay,
That
thank
was
you,
a
board
partly
members, for
open.
approving the budget. Second item under old business, reinvestment options for.
We haven't.
We haven't voted on the budget yet. We just had a motion and a second, remember?
We haven't voted on
Did
the
we
budget.
vote? I thought it was
Yeah, I voted
unanimous.
before we did vote.
It was unanimous.
Voted and then you let her comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then you guys all
Then I
started
got
to.
confused.
like I wrote it down already.
Okay.
Good, let's move on.
Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Reinvestment options for CDs.
I thought we passed a
Yeah,
motion
no,
that was applied for 90 days, that everything that comes due should go to
Skip.
STIP in the meantime. I don't think this is even appropriate to be on the agenda. We already dealt with that. We don't need to bring it up for another month, 2 months.
And we have nothing coming due in the meantime?
Until October 28th, according to the Stifel report. That's 4 months from now. A lot can happen between now and then.
Okay, so that will be just removed from the agenda. New business. Approve annexation of 732 North Wagner, 2710 Alexander Road, and 3045 Lake Elmo, on page 47 to 52. You would need to look at it. Director Esmond.
Well, can't we, I would, you know, I'd like to just know where all these parcels are in relationship to where our district is.
It's, the addresses are there, though.
Well, I know, but I'd like to see it visually. That's why I'd like him to get the GIS
Check the map
training.
to your left.
Lake
They've
Elmo,
all
one,
submitted maps, they
It's
just didn't
a
include
red
it.
area, right?
Well, why wasn't it in our packet?
Yeah, in the past, we've asked that the entire application be included in the agenda, so that we had all the information.
my first go around, so I just threw in the petition because I didn't want to I didn't wanna muddy up the agenda packet with more than not. One of them,
And I
North
just
Wagner,
looked
is
it
just
up on
off
the map,
bench,
so.
down here by the middle school.
It's not inside the district now.
Yes, it is.
It is, it's just, it was one of the parcels that hadn't been annexed in. It, so,
It was a county parcel.
yep. And then, one is on Alexander Road, so where we ran that new 24 a couple years ago, and then the other is on Lake Elmo, coming down from Alexander.
Just
where we're
north
having
of the
12.
trap club.
Yep, just north of the
Yeah,
track.
so one like right here, and one right here. And then the other one here.
So they're adjacent to the existing
Yeah.
height. Okay, that's all I needed to
I
know.
move for approval of the annexations.
And move for approval, is there a
Second.
second? Second by Frank. Discussion on any of those parcels?
I have a question. The Uri one is not complete, it just has a number on it, doesn't have any amount, it doesn't have a check-in by anybody.
Which one?
It's still, it's the, yeah, it'll be, it's the $5,000 annexation, or the system development fee for the new 3/4, $250 tap fee, $100 line inspection fee, so it's
Okay, so.
$5,350.
So maybe we need to, this is off, but maybe we need to revise the thing so that we have a receipt, so that we know what it's for, because you made notes, but I didn't know I couldn't understand what the 150 was for, it just said water, and it was only on one of the three, and then the third one didn't have it. If we could have complete information, it'd be helpful.
So are we still charging a square footage charge?
No,
So what size meter did they put in?
quarter.
And that's $5,000 for that 3/4 meter?
Yeah, because that's in the blue, it's not in the red.
Just a development fee says. Oh, yeah.
And so what was the third one then? There was no amount put in like that.
That was
so-
Yuri's.
Yuri's, and then the other one didn't have the tap fee because it was the one on Alexander. Western put the service in when they did
Hey.
the main, because the previous property owner allowed Western to park material and equipment.
So they just
got
put that in free gratis.
So they put the service in, but they still had to pay the system development fee and line inspection and meter set.
Any other comments, questions?
We have a motion to approve?
Yep.
Was there a
Then
second?
Yep.
Frank
Okay.
seconded, all in favor? Ming, did you have a comment?
No, I'm okay,
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
Public comments?
Public comment from anyone?
Jen?
No, I'm good.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Motion passes unanimously. Second item under new business. Board policy for contacting attorney, page 54 on the agenda package.
Move adoption of the policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
Then moved by Jeff, seconded by Frank. Discussion.
We discussed this at a work session so long ago, I can't remember it. It was adjusted based upon discussion from the board.
Yep.
And I think it landed in a good spot, so I hope we can all approve it and honor it.
Further discussion. Tom?
Well, just for the record, when we hired the attorney, we set out that he was working for the board, so therefore it takes board approval to use it. Therefore, I don't see the need for a policy. We went after that and hired Montana Employers Association, which has a legal element to it. That can be used by board chair or the general manager. I see no reason for a policy for a hired attorney at Felt Martin, because it was already agreed on when we hired him. He was a board attorney, board matters, and if it's a board matter, it takes a board vote to use it. So I'll be a no vote on a policy, because when we hired him, he said it was a board attorney.
Jeff?
Well, I hope we don't run into really hairy employment law issues. But it's possible, and, you know, when those occur, and I hope they don't, you know, sometimes you need to escalate to lawyers in a hurry, and it won't, you know, you may not be able to wait to get a board rounded up. It's with the notice requirements that it takes us to round it up. So I think this is a good thing.
Greg?
Like I heard about 100 times in the county attorney's office, if it isn't in writing, it didn't happen.
Further discussion? Public comment?
Well, my only thought, and maybe I'm off, but that you could get into a board meeting, decide that you need to have that the board would prefer to have the attorney contacted, but nobody's written a resolution. So then do we have to wait another month? Or,
Special meeting. Or do you
well,
know?
but couldn't we just make a motion?
We can-
No?
We can under our adopted policies,
Okay,
even if we fail to meet the
Okay.
terms of those policies, if it self-heals.
yeah,
Right.
I forgot that, yeah, that's helpful,
So
thanks.
we
But
can
I
take
know
the
there
action
was,
we need.
there was,
Okay.
a lot of talk on our first bill from Feldmark. And, you know, when you instruct, there needs to be something to back that up. And when I get told, do this, do that, by 2 or 3 people, because I'm the one that has to talk to them, I go ahead and do it. And then you come back and you got lots of people hollering about the price. What you guys wanna do? You wanna bake the cake?
As long as you're paying it, don't make any difference.
But I mean, it costs money, and I think a policy hones that in, saying you have to have some responsibility. There is room in there where the board president can act. All he has to do, or she has to do, is contact another couple of board members, and you got it. You don't have to have a special meeting. So, is there public comment? Seeing none. And we got a second on it, correct?
Yep.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. May I take the silence as a being an aye? Wake up.
Denied.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I couldn't hit the button fast enough.
Alrighty, motion has passed.
We've already covered number
Number
3.
three.
There was
Yeah.
number 3 up in the
Yep.
manager's
Yeah.
report. We're almost done.
That's right.
Kidding.
Don't say that so soon. Revise and extend the completion date on task order 29 per resolution on page 62. So if you guys want, Tom,
Make a motion, we approve.
Frank?
I make a substitute motion that we wait until Bo and Josh have their little discussion with them. And then we find out if we wanna keep going with it. With them.
I'll
I'll
second the
second
substitute.
that.
Okay, but this motion is to extend the completion date.
But if they're gonna keep overcharging us, if Bo can't get any resolution, then maybe we need to find somebody else to take over. I can't see paying $460 every time Bo wants to come from Belfry's Billings.
I'm gonna second the substitute motion.
What was the substitute motion?
That we wait until Bo and Josh have their sit-down talk with them.
Table until next month, time we set.
Well, that's fine too.
Next meeting.
That way we'll know, 'cause
That was put in there because PIR was not done yet, and the former general manager gave them extension on their date. So
We ever
I
seen
wanted
it?
that extension put into the language so that everybody knew that it was authorized. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I'd like to see the email or the letter where he authorized that.
You remember where that is?
Before I
He was
go
verbal.
on this.
He's not legally authorized to do that.
I rescind my substitute motion to say table it till next month. That makes it way more simple.
Great.
What is 29?
That's the low pressure.
No.
No,
No,
That's
that's the whole
PER.
system, the infrastructure.
PIR.
Oh, okay.
Preliminary engineering report, it's a required document for funding agencies, for grant documents, for, it's the
You try to apply for a
The
grant.
overall-
you won't get it.
It's an important,
health that.
very
that-
important document, and it's a very expensive one too.
Of which, I don't know, did you touch on that we got a $40,000
Yeah,
MSEP grant? Did you get?
yeah, that, it's not in here?
It is.
No, we all got
Yeah,
the
that's
email.
Yeah, the governor, so that will be used for this,
That's for 29.
Okay.
yeah.
And then did you touch on task order 26, the chlorination station, the ARPA grant being closed out?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the clock here, so.
I just,
If you want. But,
Okay, it's been moved to table and second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We table till July. Election of officers. The board will now be open for nominations to elect by majority vote a president and vice president.
I think Doug's doing a pretty good job, got his feet wet, we'll just keep him in there, he knows the phone numbers of everybody now, and all emails, so.
I second the nomination.
Feet wet, I think, I feel like my feet are webbed. Are there any other nominations for president? Are there any other
I call the
nominations?
question.
Don't call the question, you
Yeah,
gotta
don't.
vote by 75%.
Yeah. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now,
My sympathy, Mr. President.
mine too.
you didn't decline it.
Now I signed out, I'll finish my
There's
duty
no,
in hell.
there's no term limits on that job.
No. Now open for nominations for vice president.
I'd like to nominate Frank for vice president.
I'll second that nomination.
You're the train,
You
you're
want me
running
to get
again.
web feed too?
You and Doug
Moved
work
in,
together.
seconded, to put Frank's name in his nomination. Are there any other nominations for vice president? Seeing none, nominations will cease. All in favor of Frank as vice president, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Few announcement. How is everybody as far as July 3rd work session?
What weekday is it?
Have
Monday.
it on the calendar.
I would think July 4th would fit a lot better, cause
I'm
we'd be in a
in.
hurry to get out of there.
Building will be locked.
No,
What day of the week is
Wednesday.
it's the first Wednesday. If nobody has any objections, we'll schedule it for 9 a.m. and I'll get a agenda out ASAP on that.
Keep it short.
So you said you're gonna put that on
Hey, it's
July
only
3rd?
8:30, man.
July 3rd.
No,
I'm in on the
we're
3rd.
Doesn't anybody realize those are holiday days, or what's going on here?
Holiday don't start till
July
after.
3rd? It's not a
Not a
holiday.
week-long event anymore.
You got a trap?
That depends on where you are.
Okay,
Got something to add yet, Mr. Chair. We got, for our discovery committee, we got down to just one engineering firm out of the four that we recommended. And it's Morrison and Merrily, and we're gonna have a meeting on Friday, then on 21st at 9 a.m. And that's gonna be, I sent the email to everybody, down at the water plant, you gotta go through the lock gate. And I just got another email, there's an agenda, and I will email that to all the committee members, so I'll fill out the,
is that a public meeting?
I don't know if it is or not.
I don't think so.
As far, it's just a committee, so
Yeah,
I don't
Doesn't take
don't
any
think
action.
Okay.
Well, we haven't formally accepted their approval yet.
Yeah,
This is-
I just told them to go ahead, because we don't have anybody else, it's Morrison and Merrily, that's all it
Right,
is.
but I mean, as far as, they have still not offered us a proposal.
No, that's,
You know what I mean?
we're gonna get
So,
that.
once
going.
we have that, I think the whole thing is official.
Yeah.
Any other announcements or business? No more business. Going once,
I
going
wanna,
I just wanna put a point of information here, because we only have one bid open for Morrison Merrily to look at this consolidation. You know, they can jack up these numbers as much as they want.
We had a chance for Sanderson and Stewart too, but it didn't work out.
Again,
Didn't they, way back when, do the work for,
Horace and Merrily did.
yeah, for the Heights? So they're very familiar with us, Frank. So I think that's one of the reasons that they're doing this job. They can dust off some of their old file and be way ahead of the other guys.
They got a pretty good resume too. Their
Yeah.
RFQ
No, they're
was
nice
really,
people.
was really good, so.
Jeff,
well, I wanna thank the general manager. I made a request, relatively late to get some transparency on, you know, where the money, how much money had been spent on these task orders, just, you know, so I could get it all total, because it's never been transparent since I've been on this board. And I really appreciate the effort he put to getting those all put together, so, you know, I wanna thank him.
Thank you. Well, it's a great concern to me, that's why I had all that. That is a big lead as far as I'm concerned. And I reviewed the bill just like you, and I had the same question. But I think Josh and I need to sit down. Josh's been working very closely with them. There's never been a discussion of how much you're gonna charge for this or that. It's all in that packet, not to exceed $6 million, you know? So we gotta put a stop on that. And I recommend that these larger, the number 28 and number 29 task order, if you add them all together, it's 800,000-900,000. It really should be a line item for the board of directors to review each meeting, not once a year. Each meeting, what's the progress? Because if you commit yourself to those kind of money and just let it float, the project is not gonna happen, you know? They're just gonna take your money. I would too. Giving the
thanks for being honest,
Getting the opportunity. I mean, it's just, here's our money, take it. So, there's something called customer be aware. So, if you don't think there is a good value proposition, just nip it in the bud and stop it until it becomes a value proposition. And so far, it really hasn't. I mean, you guys have nothing to show.
Right.
It hasn't made our rates cheaper or the facility more efficient. So feel free to bombard me with these emails, because in my book, half of them makes actually sense, so.
and for the other
Not my
half,
half.
for the other half,
So,
and the meeting will now conclude. At 8:35, we're gonna go to 9 o'clock this time at
As
least.
slow as we started, it went pretty good by the time we got rolling.
I didn't think we'd get out of here till 10.
Just in case.